So, and you're, of course, no stranger to award season, Michelle. I mean, you've got 4 Emmy nominations, a Golden Globe nomination. Do you know what I mean? What does awards like that and recognition like that mean to an actor like yourself? We'll start with you, Naomi. I mean, loads of people, especially younger people, know you from Aladdin. Aladdin 2 is coming. But this character, it's a different ballpark, isn't it? Like, this is a different thing altogether. Was it the fact that it's so different, so complex, did that attract you to the role?
Absolutely, yes. Full stop. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I binge read the scripts, and I thought the character was so interesting and complex, and I found that line, treading that line of going through everything that she's going through and still being in love with someone who's caused her so much pain, and having to really kind of reckon with that, I thought was so interesting. And yeah, and a new challenge for me. And quite honestly, it was just everyone involved, and SJ, who I actually really felt like the character of Olivia was really safe in her hands.
Yeah.
And I felt like I really believed in her vision and how she wanted to tell this story. And everyone, of course, you know, Melissa James Gibson and David E. Kelly and all the producers and the incredible cast. I was just like, this is something I absolutely have to be a part of.
Yeah, and I mean, your character, Michelle, is just as complicated, if not more so. I mean, you think at the very start, it's not a spoiler. You're kind of going, oh, she's obviously like she's a lawyer, she's really like above board, and then you're kind of saying, oh, is there an affair going on there? What's going? So it's constantly questioning everything. And for you, then, was it nice to have this role that's just so meaty, that keeps evolving, keeps changing?
Absolutely. I loved her from the start, from the first read, and that she's such a complex character. There's so much going on underneath, and that begins to unravel as the series goes on. And also, I was just really down for playing a barrister. I was, you know, it's something that I kind of didn't imagine in my career, but then when it came along, I thought, oh, that's a challenge, and it really was. I mean, I've never had to work harder, actually. Just those courtroom scenes were huge, and it was really important to me that it was as authentic as it could possibly be in those courtroom scenes. So I worked really closely with a top barrister who was like my coach, and also the element of performance within that courtroom was really interesting. It's like the costume on the costume is the robes and the wig. So it's like there's a lot of layers to Kate. You know, she's not who you think she is.
Yes.
And it's all part of creating boundaries for her, you know. And as you see, as the series goes on, it's she needs the masks in order to survive. It's sort of a way of detaching herself.
Totally. And you're watching this, and you're watching your character Naomi in the stands. I mean, it's terrifying even to watch from home. You're kind of like, was it terrifying playing that role, or are you an actor? So you're going, it's make believe. I'm not actually.
No, actually, you're right. It was really nerve-wracking. There's something about being put in that environment, albeit a fake version. The set was incredible, and actually, as I said, being in that environment, being in that courtroom, it really does. It makes it feel as real from an environment point of view as it can.
Yeah.
I think also really kind of opened my eyes to, okay, if me as an actor, if I'm feeling this nervous, and this is me as an actor, it's not real, I can't imagine how someone must feel when they have to actually relive their trauma in front of people who aren't supportive, but they're actually judging whether they're telling the truth or not.
Yeah.
I think that's something I can't imagine what that feels like. And we spoke a lot about also her trajectory in terms of emotionally, and how it, you know, I think she really wants to she kind of knows what is in her head. She's trying to block out the emotional part, because I think she understands that she needs to be a really good witness. And so she's almost treating it like a work assignment of like, okay, I need to go out here. I need to, you know, answer the questions that her and Kate have rehearsed together. I don't think she wants James to see her emotion. and I don't think she wants him to see her weakness. And but then there comes a point, the reality is there comes a point where her body, having to retell this trauma, her body takes over. And we spoke a lot about when we felt like that was appropriate to happen. And and I think it also helped the fact that they were the scenes were played out almost, it was like a play. They were 15-minute long scenes,
Okay.
So I think that helped with the kind of natural progression of where she was emotionally in the scene.
So, and you're, of course, no stranger to award season, Michelle. I mean, you've got 4 Emmy nominations, a Golden Globe nomination. Do you know what I mean? What does awards like that and recognition like that mean to an actor like yourself?
Oh, it means a lot, to be part of a show that is recognised like that. Is great. It's an opportunity to celebrate the show as well. Like, so often we do these jobs and we have this brilliant experience together. Then we promote it like we're doing now, and then everybody disappears again. So an excuse to sort of come back together and all be together and celebrate, And
it stood the test of time. Like, why do you think people just can't get enough of that show? It's a bit like Anatomy of a Scandal in a way. I can't get enough of this. But, it just keeps coming back, and there are movie versions and everything.
Yeah, I think it's so long as the audience still have an appetite for it, we'll that's why we did the film. At the end of the series, we just weren't, you can never sort of tell how it's going to go. And there was this idea for a film, and that doesn't always work, going from the small screen to the big screen, and it did work. And so there was an appetite for another one, so we did another one.
Yeah. And going back to this show, I mean, for you, Naomi, Rupert Friend, obviously an amazing actor, but a kind of despicable character that he's playing, who obviously is closely tied to you. So you have a lot of scenes with him, but you're kind of somebody you've scenes where you're having an affair with him and you're in love with him, and then you've scenes where you're in court. So is playing that in totally different frames of mind, was that difficult to switch all the time because it's an evolving character, I suppose, in story?
Not so much, because in the courtroom it was so tense in there, and we're very separated. Like, he's far away over there, Michelle's over there, Sienna's up in the stalls,
in the gods.
in the gods,
the gallery.
The gallery, thank you, the gallery, the stalls. I was like, what do you call it? So that was actually, and I think I was so nervous about the scene itself, I wasn't really thinking too much about that. And also, I think actually Olivia is trying to block him out in a way. I don't think she wants to kind of engage with him, especially in the court case, because she's thinking about the job at hand and being like a perfect witness. But no, in terms of the other scenes, as I said, like, it's really important to have levity in and amongst those more intense scenes, and he was such an incredible scene partner. I couldn't have asked for a scene partner in Rupert. So and he's the best. We have a laugh.
I love it. So Michelle, do you do anything to get into the headspace, I was wondering, of your character? Do you know what I mean? Because as I say, they're all complex, but yours is particularly complex, I think. Did you do anything before they say go? Do you have any routines, or like, okay, I just need time with my own guys for 10 minutes, or do you know?
I find music really useful. Like, if I have to sort of get into the zone, particularly for those courtroom scenes and some of those like emotionally intense scenes with Kate, there's certain music that I listen to when I'm playing a role. So, I'll just put my AirPods.
What do you listen to?
In it.
It's her personal thing.
It's a very personal. It is actually.
Do you know what? I was, as soon as you asked that, I was like, oh yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
it is
quite personal. And each job I have like a playlist. But for this role particularly, I had to really reserve my energy, because it required so much concentration in those courtroom scenes that if my mind wandered ever so slightly in those scenes, I could lose my next train of thought.
Okay.
Which I think is, it gave me a real insight into what that must be like as a barrister, because they do learn, you're learning your process, the questions, and how the witness then reacts. And, particularly with your client, there is an almost rehearsed version of what you hope will come across.
Yeah.
And so that if you slightly go off in a tangent, or you encourage your client accidentally perhaps to say something that isn't helpful, you then have to go back to the beginning, you know, you then have to readdress what you're saying and bring them back. And, you know, and each one is different. The cross-examination is different, because with James, it was like, it's tactics. It's all about kind of knocking him off his feet.
Yes.
Whereas with Naomi, it was with Olivia, it's a sort of different they're different tactics. I mean, I've so much respect for barristers. I mean,
all right, guys, it was Juicy by Doja Cat that she was listening to. That's
there you go. It's out now. It's out.
It's out.
Thank you. It's going on my playlist. Listen, thank you so much for talking to us. The last time. Good. Thank you.